Hello, everyone out there in podcast land, and welcome to another sports podcast. I am Joel Anderson.
I'm Jordan Pomaville.
And joining us, as always, is the resident sports outsider, Phil Ranta.
Now a sports insider.
What?
Yeah.
Is that true? Did you watch sports this weekend?
You know what? I watched the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
of
you and
course.
111 other million people.
yeah.
It's a cultural
Commercials.
Oh,
That's
Jeez.
what. Oh, you're one of those people
Well, yeah.
who at the Super Bowl party goes, guys, be quiet. I gotta catch all the commercials.
I wasn't at
we
a
don't like
party.
those people.
I was doing some comedy stuff in the morning, and then I came home and I'm like, oh, the Super Bowl is on. So I started live tweeting at Phil Ranta if you want to follow me.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's something my uncle used to do back at home.
Live tweet.
Well, the equivalent of that. He would
Sure.
just make jokes about commercials and make comments about things.
He would write them down on a
Yeah.
piece of paper and pass them around.
Well,
Old school tweeting.
He'd say them out loud, and it was he knew his audience.
Oh sure.
odd thing about Jordan's uncle, he only spoke in 144 characters or less.
That was smart.
Yeah,
That's
clipped,
4 characters
very
too many.
clipped speech.
Yeah.
Terse. So, what'd you think of the game, Phil?
The
The big game.
It's a big
It was
game.
close. The score was very close for a lot of it. And then
Who won, Phil?
New York won.
Yeah, there you go.
Correct.
one.
Correct.
New York.
Giants.
There you go. All right.
I said New York because I couldn't remember if it was the Giants or the Patriots. I admit it.
the New York Patriots.
That was the home of the loyalists. That would have been
Right.
completely off.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about how much you love commercials.
Yes.
Will we have some commercials that didn't air on the Super Bowl?
No!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
There were more commercials that didn't air?
There are more
Apparently
commercials.
$3.5 million price tag.
I didn't
for a
see.
30
There's
second
more
spot.
commercials.
There is more commercials.
That's awesome. Please tell me they have the ending to that GoDaddy cliffhanger.
No, you're gonna have to go online for that.
Ah.
Yeah,
No,
this is
incidentally,
a
for anyone
podcast,
who's-
so we're only gonna be able to. You're only gonna be able to hear the commercial.
Okay.
For anyone who's thinking of trying it, I've been to GoDaddy.com.
I knew
and
you
it's
would.
Horrendously disappointing.
What you were like? Oh, I want to see some fucking naked titties.
I thought they
Did you
might.
think? No, they wouldn't.
They're selling
There's
web
lots
space.
of better websites.
Oh yeah, I'm
than
not
that.
going to see boobs on the internet.
It would
Well,
be
there's other
refreshing
places to go.
to be like, or just go to one of these other 1 million sites.
Right? Yeah.
But anyway, these commercials. Now, some of them, the issue is the companies couldn't pony up the dough.
Oh, that's
They
too
could.
bad.
They were made them, and then they realized this was a terrible idea to make this. We don't have the money to air this.
That's too bad.
Others were rejected for creative reasons.
Sure.
Okay.
Others, I think, because they're a little edgy.
Oh.
So I think the NFL said, you know what? Sorry, here's your money back. We cannot air these.
NBC does not normally do things like that.
No, they're in no position to say no to money.
Yeah. Well, they did yank that episode of Fear Factor where the contestants were supposed to drink donkey semen. Did you read about that?
They pulled that?
They pulled that episode. Yeah. Contestants drank donkey semen and they didn't even get on TV.
And yet,
That's the saddest part for me.
the saddest part for me is that they had the integrity to pull that, and they still let Madonna go on with that train wreck that they called a halftime show.
Right. And
I would have
episodes of
rather
Whitney
watched
are
people
like,
drinking donkey semen
Yeah.
than Madonna's halftime show.
Totally. In fact, every comedy that's premiered in the past 4 years on NBC is kind of the comedy equivalent to drinking donkey
Drinking
semen.
donkey
Oh,
semen,
man.
indeed.
It is.
I was gonna say my buddy Aaron Stone. He was saying that he Facebooked me. He didn't tweet, but he Facebooked me and said there was some guy up on stage doing Madonna. I don't know.
Zing!
Oh.
What else we have on the decket?
All right. Well, so we have that, and then we have a real guest.
Hey,
Oh.
a real honest to God
No,
guest.
I mean, Jordan, you mean we have a guest this week who's not like our other really famous guests who are equally real.
Well, he's on a real podcast.
Hey.
He has a real website. Phil, why don't you
Oh yeah, it's
introduce him?
Joe
to-
Donatelli. He's been a writer for a
I've heard of
long
Joe
time. He's a
Donatelli.
comedian,
He's very
funny dude.
Yeah.
Internet
Solid
star.
writer.
He used
Internet
to be
star.
the editor of All Turns Left, the NASCAR blog.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to ask him some NASCAR
I have
questions.
Yeah.
no NASCAR questions.
He used to
prepared.
be a professional NASCAR blogger.
living the dream.
Living the
Living the
dream,
dream.
absolutely.
Sweet smell of Carolina.
And he's from
Q.
Ohio, which
Oh, we
Oh.
love
That explains the
don't we?
NASCAR.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely sums it all up. So yeah, he'll be on later.
And then we have another weird sport, of course.
Of course we do.
Can't go without one of those.
Oh, it's gonna be a good one, guys. I've been on a streak lately. This one's gonna be good.
All right. I think that's it. I think that's what we got, right?
Yeah, I'd love to hear the episode now.
All right, let's do it.
Let's
go
do
into
it.
Hi, I'm Peyton Manning, and because of a neck injury, I couldn't play this year. But that doesn't mean you can't win big.
Listen up, America. Taco Bell is bringing you a chance to kick out the cobwebs of Super Bowl Monday with a free soft taco. If any player on either team goes down with an injury that requires them to be strapped to a stretcher and carted off field, everybody in America wins a free taco.
That's right. Let's see some hard hits for soft tacos. Please, though, take it easy on Eli. Kidding.
What if they're able to limp to the sideline?
No free tacos.
What if teammates help them up?
You're paying for that taco, kiddo.
What if they need an ambulance?
Hey, now we're talking.
If they're strapped to a stretcher and you're strapped for cash, come in at Taco Bell tomorrow for a free soft shell taco. Offer not valid if player gives a thumbs up while on stretcher, as that undermines the seriousness of free tacos.
All right, in the studio now we have a very special guest. He is a writer. He is a podcaster. He is a columnist, which is also a writer. He was the editor for All Turns Left, the NASCAR blog.
Yeehaw!
Through break.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Donatelli. How you doing,
Hey
Joe?
guys, how you doing?
Good, good. Welcome.
It was all left turns.
All left turns.
You NASCAR hating.
I ruined it.
You NASCAR hating liberal.
What? How did you get into something like that? Blogging about NASCAR.
Okay. A number of years ago, I worked for a cartoon, and the cartoon covered. It was about a family of NASCAR drivers. The executive producer was Nancy Cartwright, the voice of Bart Simpson.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I had to learn everything there is to know about NASCAR so I could write these little web cartoons. And later on, when this job came open for a sports editor for a NASCAR site, I applied and got it.
That's awesome.
So
yeah,
that's how
I
that
actually
happened.
read it because also a buddy of ours, Chris Mosier, was also writing for it at the time. So
Yeah, exactly. So
you and
I know more
Mosier
about
did that. I did not know that.
Yeah, Chris Mosier's a writer for All Left Turns. I think he still is. And he's like the humor writer for the site. He's really funny.
yeah, now he's at Harvard, right?
Yeah, he is. He's at Harvard studying, making a better person of himself.
One of those guys.
Like a real jerk.
Oh, jeez.
You know, you can always tell a Harvard man, but you can't tell him much.
Oh. How do you know when someone's been to Harvard?
How's that?
Wait 5 minutes, they'll tell you.
Yes.
I don't have a Harvard joke. Don't look at me.
Oh.
Don't look at me.
Total letdown, Phil.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We had them all lined up there like ducks in a row.
So I thought you guys wrote the whole show out before. No?
No.
This is all made up on the spot.
Unless what we're saying right now is written.
Sounds good.
Well, you were on the popular podcast, The Second Column, which just ended. Did you write the whole thing out beforehand? We were like
No.
hour and a half episodes.
We put surprisingly little preparation into that show. Couldn't tell. Yeah, we just wrapped up our 200th episode. You can still check out the episodes at thesecondcolumn.com. And Phil was on a couple of shows.
I was,
so.
yeah.
wow.
So you can search Phil Ranta and Second Column on Google, and I might just come up.
Yeah, and there's a rap song that was even written in your
Yeah,
honor.
the Ranta rap.
Yeah, by our producer Mike Costantini, who has like a weird Phil fetish, and that made a song for
Oh,
Phil.
there's nothing weird about that.
Right.
It's a natural Phil fetish.
Mike
Yeah,
Constantini actually wrote our theme song too. So
Oh, awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So we
That guy.
have an in.
yeah, we've
Yeah,
got
you
it in
guys
with
know
him. We can get him in.
Now, is there a third column podcast in the works?
There is another podcast in the works. It's going to be different than the first one. We're figuring it out right now. Like, we have a basic idea, and we're figuring out right now like what to name it and how to market it, because the big problem with the second column was just kind of, it was this show that we did every week, and it didn't really have a defined, you guys are about sports. We were just about getting together and doing a show every week, which is fine and fun, but if you want to grow bigger and do things like become part of a network and have advertisers, you need to have kind of a defined niche. So we're going to do that with this.
We're
next
part
one.
of a network,
I know.
the Comedy Podcast Network.
I was at your launch party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As defined as we are, though, we have a rivalry with our sister podcast,
Which one?
Curtain Jerks.
Yes.
Why is it a rivalry?
Because they're a sports entertainment podcast.
Yeah.
And we are a sports podcast.
We talk about real sports, and they talk about men in moo-moos.
And more people listen to their podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
That's
well,
also
that-
a
That's
thing.
the competitive factor.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Those are
Just
the-
because they put out a quality product every week,
Mm-hmm.
we can't mail it in and get more listeners, and that really upsets us.
Right.
Go
I'm
figure.
sorry for you guys. And you guys know Bill Simmons has a podcast too. I don't know if you heard about that, but he's on ESPN.
Jordan's face just dropped, and I want to hear the backstory.
I'm sorry.
Your face
I'm
just
sorry.
dropped.
Yeah, well,
so
if
I'm
There's
so,
more than two
I am
sports
so
podcasts.
over Bill Simmons, and I wasn't even ever into him,
Uh-huh.
and I'm already over him.
See, here's how ours is different from Bill Simmons. Ours is funny. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
That's
I see.
our
But
big sell.
we're not Russell Simmons' brother, so we don't
No.
get that kind of publicity.
So we don't get the sort
Phil,
of
Phil, are you the outsider on everything, every
I
topic?
think I don't know anything about Bill Simmons,
all
so
right.
And when we talk about like our hometown sports, we don't talk about our fucking feelings. Oh, Phil, tell me about how you can die in peace now because of the Red Sox. Something about your dad.
All right.
Blah blah blah.
But you guys know. Okay, you guys know. Are we all Patriots haters here in the room? Do we hate the?
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I don't hate the Patriots.
You don't hate the
I think they're a
Patriots?
well-run organization,
Oh, okay.
and I hate New York sports teams.
Yeah.
All right,
So
you're-
that's where I come in.
So you're
Jordan has
Pats
observed
fan.
many times. I do hate the Patriots, but that has a lot to do with their quarterback going to a certain university.
All right.
And not so much. And again, if not for that, I would probably fall
That's
on
right.
Jordan's side of respecting the organization.
You're a
even if
Michigan
they're-
State guy, and
Yeah.
Tom Brady's a Michigan guy. All right, Jordan, what did you think of the videos that came out today? And I don't know when this is going to air, but the videos that came out today of Gronkowski and Light at the dance club at 3 a.m. after the Super Bowl.
I did not see these
Oh,
videos.
these were burning up the internet today. So it's both of those guys at a 3 a.m. after party in downtown Indianapolis with their shirts off, dancing very angrily and aggressively and weirdly, very strange. And
This sounds hot.
if you like aggro dudes with their shirts off who are fighting back tears, you will love these videos.
No,
of these
I
guys
don't know
dancing.
if I can even believe what you're telling me. This is too surprising. There's an after-hours club in Indianapolis.
It was actually the I think it was the field where they played AAA baseball. And they rented it out, and it was called it was the Patriots victory party. And it was by invitation only. Yes. And I think some of the players, if I know, I've worked in sports before. I think some of the players were probably obligated to be there and didn't want to be for obvious reasons.
Sure.
And my take was they were just like, F it. We're just going to get wasted and dance like jerks. And so people, because it's 2012, pulled out their iPhones and just taped them. And so there's videos now on sites like Deadspin of these guys not hours after losing the Super Bowl cutting the light fantastic, tripping the light fantastic.
I'd like to see angry dancing.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see, just aggressive angry dancing.
Have you ever been to the party where the guy clearly had too many and no girl is talking to him and he's on the dance floor and he's moving a little bit too fast and he's trying a little bit too hard?
I would say, and I'm not speaking from any point of view on this, is sometimes the rest of the world's just moving a little too slow. And you want to spice things up a bit. You want to make things happen.
Exactly.
No girls now, maybe girls later.
Exactly. That's how Gronk and I think it was Matt Light, that's how they were moving on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
geez.
if you're throwing a victory party for the Patriots, it seems like the actual players would be the one group that you wouldn't invite to such a party,
Right.
seeing as they're the ones who ruined it.
Oh,
that's
okay.
true.
So they shouldn't be invited to the party because they lost the game.
Yes. It seems like everyone else should still be able to go to the party except those stupid
You
players
see
who ruined it.
Wells Welker over in the corner dropping his beer repeatedly.
Oh,
Hold on to it, Welker.
okay, all right. Can you say, well, very briefly, how would you describe the pass thrown to Wes Welker that he dropped?
I think it was catchable.
Catchable.
It was catchable.
That's what I said.
Was if you had to say good, average, or bad? How would you describe
average. It was average, but it's a catch that Wes Welker has made his entire
Has
career.
made, yeah.
And you can only chalk it up to either exhaustion or Super Bowl jitters, or just I played sports. I think you guys have. Just sometimes you screw up, and there's no reason for it.
And it sucks if it's in the Super Bowl.
And
Actually,
it sucks if it's in the
a
Super
big part
Bowl.
of the reason I don't still play sports is because I didn't sometimes screw up. I like most of the time screwed up.
Yeah, you're an awkward dude.
So
Coaches had to hate. You're a big guy. Coaches
I am
had
a
to
big
hate
guy.
that you weren't a great athlete.
people always used to come up to me in high school, especially. I was like I don't know, top 20 tallest guys in the school. People keep coming up to me and be like, "Why don't you play basketball?" And be like, "You don't know?
Yeah.
You haven't seen me try."
Yeah.
Like,
Do you see
Have
the
you
way I'm
seen me how I
walking and
carry
doing?
books
Yeah.
in the hallway?
Yeah.
Uncomfortably shifting from arm to arm.
did you see me when I dropped that koala bear in the ground?
Why were there koala bears at your Michigan high school?
Well, I was just there's something that grabs.
Oh, they hold
Very
on to
hard
you.
drop
They hold
them,
on
and
to
yet
you.
I would manage to drop a koala.
You went
bear
A to
because that's how
C.
clumsy
You went
I
A to
was.
C.
Yeah,
on
that was a
one.
long
Got
way
it.
to go for that one.
Sorry.
Well,
Sorry, guys.
well, I think the important question that everybody's wondering, Joe, is what was your favorite Super Bowl commercial?
Oh yeah.
That's a good question. I'll tell you what happened during the Super Bowl this year was I went over to my brother's house. I watched it with my brother, his wife, and my wife. There was 4 of us. And the game was, the middle of the game started to drag. And then you guys live in L.A. and you're actors. You understand this. my friends started popping up in some of the commercials.
Yep, that was about when I feel like we saw like one early on.
We saw
and
Graham Beckett in the
Yeah,
Toyota, and then we
Graham
saw
Beckett
Mark Saul
and Mark Saul,
in the Jack in the Box commercial.
Exactly. So these are two guys I know. So those were my two favorite commercials were Graham's and Mark's because I know them, and they were both good commercials. But I started congratulating them on Twitter and Facebook, and my wife got a little surly. She thought I was like tweeting and ignoring everybody, and I was trying to explain that I was using social media to connect with my friends, and
this is what it's for.
I know that's what I was trying to say. Like,
Does she have an at AOL?
she still does actually.
She's on Earthlink.
She still does have an at AOL. So
You can
she
always
didn't,
tell.
Yeah, she didn't fully get what I was doing, but I was congratulating both Mark and Graham because, it's the Super Bowl of commercials, guys.
Sure, yeah.
it is.
It's a big deal.
My favorite about Mark Saul, because his whole thing was like marrying bacon. That was his entire commercial. I loved reading all of the tweets that went to Mark Saul that was jokes about him marrying bacon.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
hey, when you're done having a go at her, can I get some? And, just like this endless string of jokes making
Bad, horrible
jokes.
So what is it you're going to be bringing home then?
There
right,
it is.
Right. Oh, I mean, Mark. I said to Mark, like, congratulations on marrying bacon. I didn't know you could do that, and I just got married last year. He wrote back, any advice? And I made a bad joke. I wrote, the bacon is always right. So I too, Phil, made a bad joke.
Good. I'm not the only one.
Begged for bad jokes.
Joe, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I just launched a new humor website called thehumorcolumnist.com. If you like funny writing, I suggest you check it out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I've actually been there already, and it's funny.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
a funny writer. I like
try.
it.
I appreciate that.
Well, cool. Thanks for being here, Joe. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, bye.
Hello, everyone. It is 6 o'clock in the morning, and it is a mere 12 and a half hours until game time.
If they don't get good quarterback play, they're not going to win. Quarterback is the most important position on the field.
I know you're a former quarterback, so you have to say that. But this game will come down to how the offensive line gets off the ball.
The guys in the trenches will be a factor, but I think the running game and controlling the clock are the real key to this game. If the other team doesn't have the ball, how can they score?
Are you guys kidding me? It's defense. Defense wins championships. You keep the other team from scoring, you win the game.
Defense might win championships, but special teams can lose you games, and I look for special teams to play a significant role in today's game.
I think there's one thing you fellas are forgetting, and it's a little thing called chemistry. If you don't have chemistry, the quarterback and the special teams and all that do not matter. The game is won and lost in the locker room.
I'll tell you the most important guys in that locker room, the playmakers. You gotta have the playmakers. I don't care how well everyone gets along, you have to have players who make plays.
You can have all the playmakers in the world, but if you don't have the right coaching schemes, none of it matters. Somebody's going to call the plays and get these guys fired up. I was a coach in this league for 1.5 years. I know. It's all about coaching.
I hate to say it, guys, but weather will be the deciding factor in this game. I just take a look at the latest report, and it's going to be brutal out there.
That's a good point. I think there's one thing we're all forgetting with all this talk, and that's the real key to winning this game. The stadium is downtown next to the water, with that wind whipping off the water, and that's why I think today's game comes down to city planner Tom Smyrn and his ill-fated decision to put a stadium next to a body of water that will be frozen for half the season. Mr. Smyrn has ensured that every game after October will be played in subarctic temperatures as thousands of seagulls, too stupid to fly home for the winter, fight for their survival in the bitter cold, circling the stadium ominously, stopping only to swoop into the parking lot and carry away small children. The other key is quarterback.
And now it's time for another Weird Sports! Oh, sport is so weird! Weird Sports.
That came down quick this time.
It did, but what do we got?
I did. I ran out of breath. Today's Weird Sport.
We've been on a real streak here before you say this.
Yeah,
We've
before
had,
I even say it.
Since the sport, which shall not be named.
We're not even talking about
We're
it.
not even talking about it.
Yeah, Muggle Quidditch. I won't say it.
Ah, damn it,
No, I'm not going to
Phil.
say it. Don't worry. Muggle Quidditch is completely out of the conversation.
Every time you say that, an angel is forcibly sodomized.
Well, good. Good for the guy doing the sodomy. The sport that we're going for today on Weird Sports. Bed racing.
Bed racing?
Bed
This sounds
racing.
This sounds like a child's dream. This is straight out of a cartoon.
Yes,
This sounds
actually,
like
this
the
is a child's
laziest
dream.
Form
It's
of
not a real
NASCAR.
Yeah, it kind of is like a lazy form NASCAR. Why don't I fill you in with the details here? Bed racing has been embraced by the people of the North Yorkshire town of Canarisborough.
So this is another UK one, right?
Everything's in the UK.
Okay,
Those UK
wait.
people must, and they don't play like football.
Is it
Or
North Yorkshire town or North Yorkshireton?
North Yorkshire space town.
Okay.
It's in a North Yorkshire town, and the name of the town is either it's Knaresborough or Canarisborough, depending on whether or not you say the K. I don't know how British people do that with the Ks. How do British people do it with the Ks?
The only
It's hit or
British word
miss.
I know
Things
how to
like
pronounce.
karate, hard K, knife, silent.
Right. But with British people, they're just like, we're just going to add U's inside of the word color. They're crazy. They're crazy over there. And let me prove it further by continuing this. The first bed race was held in 1965 and was only open to the Army, the Navy, and American Marines. But now the competition's open to everybody.
Whoa. It was. I'm assuming the British Army, Her Majesty's Navy, and American Marines.
It is a
I
little
think
bit
we all know
odd.
who won that one.
Right, I would say so. Well, it's because they only say American before the Marines. So yeah, I've got to assume
Because
that
Marines,
the
they
other two are
got
British.
the engineering corps too with them.
Yeah.
Helping them design the beds.
Oh, I mean, America's gonna win this one. It's not even a competition, right? We spend more time in bed than
You don't need
most
to qualify
cultures.
this much. Are we playing against England?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
Yeah, we're gonna win. Oh
shit!
Yeah.
Remember
Take it, England. Yeah.
Remember in the most recent football match between England and the United States? What happened there?
I assume that somebody faked an injury.
I have no idea, actually.
It was a tie. That's effectively a win for us because we could really give a shit
Right.
about any of this. And this is all they care about, and we still tied them.
We played them to a tie on purpose because we thought they would find that outcome
Yes.
most aggravating.
Right.
Exactly.
This outcome is most aggravating. I don't even think that's British.
No, it was,
Nope,
it was
that
not
wasn't
at
even
all.
close. But let me break down bed racing a little
Okay,
bit
how
for
does
you.
one bed race?
The competitors race in teams of 6, plus one person who's on the bed. So 6 people pushing the bed, one person on the bed. Each team must provide their own bed, decorated in the theme of the year. So it's kind of like floats. Like, you do
Okay.
homecoming floats, only you do it with beds.
I don't know about the decorating part. I feel like no real sport involves decorations.
What stopped me is no real American Marine would care about. Like, hey, the theme this year is daffodils, so we got to get some flowers. Let's go to the meadow and frolic. It's not
Well,
gonna
I
happen.
wouldn't have to frolic. They just have to pick the.
Well, you can't
daffodils.
pick flowers in a meadow
Also,
without
dandelions isn't
frolicking.
a theme. It's usually like a night under the stars.
That's true. Love under the sea.
This year, our Night Under the Stars decoration of these racing stripes.
That was the same one as last year. Wait a second. So they decorate them. Then the bed is on 4 wheels that they put on the bed.
Right.
And then it also needs to be able to float because there's a water section.
What?
Yeah. Oh, the bed has to
this
float.
just got 100%
Oh,
cooler.
man, this
Yes.
became like a triathlon.
I think we just found the turning point of bed racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to have wheels. It's got to be able to go over hard surfaces.
You have to be
then
able to
also-
caulk the bed up and float it.
Wait, what was the word?
Caulk? Is that-
Caulk.
Yeah.
Caulk the bed up?
Oregon
Yeah.
Trail? Come on.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Let's be real.
Sure.
You don't
So
remember
caulk
Oregon
is to
Trail?
make float.
You're not gonna
I do
ford the
remember-
river.
Yeah.
Your fucking oxen will die.
Caulk is to water seal.
Oh, okay.
CAULK.
Right. I've heard of like caulking a bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Same thing.
a place with water.
There, that makes sense now.
So you would caulk the bed to make sure it doesn't.
Oh, I caulk the bed a lot. Don't you worry.
no.
Yeah.
Usually with 6 people pushing and 1 on it.
Absolutely. That sums it up. This is where it starts getting cooler. So the race is 3 kilometers. It's a long time to be.
How long is 3 kilometers?
3 kilometers is like what? Well, 5K is 3.1 miles.
3.125. It's 3 1/8.
Oh, okay. So if that's true, then 3/5 of 3 miles is what?
I don't know.
It's a 3K.
It's like
effectively.
1.8 something
Yeah.
miles.
This 3
right?
kilometer race is effectively just a 3K.
Yeah. So it's like 1.8 miles, right?
Yeah.
That's gotta be
Effectively.
close.
Effectively at 3.
Yeah.
Effectively. And then the team on this 1.5 mile thing. First of all, they just make special note that every year it ends at Cunningham Hall.
Okay.
So I assume it's something
It's
British.
the end point of the race.
Right.
It's probably a very nice social hall in town.
Right, so that they can then like just park their beds and then take a nap afterwards. Because it's very
Imagine they're
difficult to
quite
run this
tired,
race.
Yeah.
They gotta be tired. But yeah, so about halfway through the run, the teams face a 1 in 5 gradient climb to a castle top.
Ooh.
Yes.
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 1 in 5 gradient's pretty hard too.
What does that mean?
Because isn't like this is 0 when it's flat, and then 5 is when it's straight up.
So the
it's
X
like-
is 1, the Y is 5.
Right,
I'm
so
explaining
1
to
in 5
listeners who can't
yeah,
see your hands.
So like 1/5, it's like a 1/5 slope, right?
oh shit, that's
Yeah.
steep.
It's like a 20% gradient, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
it's a 20% gradient.
That
Same
seems
deal.
rather
Really
steep.
That's
Yeah.
pretty steep for carrying, like you're one of 6 people carrying a huge bed with a human on it.
And
Like-
you're carrying it now. You're no longer wheeling it.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you're still wheeling
Oh, you're
it, but
wheeling it up.
still-
It's not
Getting it up
stairs.
there.
It's a
Right.
ramp.
But still, like, imagine being a pallbearer, right? I think we've all been a pallbearer, carrying a casket around. Now imagine if you had to do that up a hill.
Ugh. I would not go to that funeral.
So once they go up the 20% gradient to the castle top, they go back down the hill, which has to be easy. If it's a heavy bed on wheels, you just, push
Yeah.
and...
Probably
Yeah,
just
this would be
ride
the
that
fun
one down.
part, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like going sledding, extreme sledding. But then, once you get to the bottom of the hill, then there's the river. And you
Yes.
have to cross a river with the bed.
So the bed has to float.
The bed has to float.
Sink or swim.
Right.
And all this without waking up the person riding in it.
Yes, that's also a thing. If you wake up the person riding, you have to start over at the beginning. Give
Oh,
them
man.
some more sleeping pills, conk them
Yeah.
out, start again.
I think this is the most terrifying part for the person on the bed.
Right.
I have
Yeah.
to imagine.
They're probably
But
just
again, they're-
wetting the
they're
bed
just
the
totally
entire
asleep.
time.
So is the version of doping in bed racing when you have a dead person in the bed?
Right.
Because
That's
they're
the
like,
big
wait a
cheat.
second, they're not
Hold
asleep,
on.
they're dead.
What
They're
if the
not
person...
falling for that
No,
one again.
no, they were alive when we started the race. Come on. Show me in the rule book where it says they can't die during the race. I consider that heroic. They died playing the sport they love, sitting in a bed while 6 burly men carry them around. But that does kind of beg the question. If you're the person in the bed, it seems like you get a lot of the glory with none of the work.
Yeah.
Like you could be on the winning team and you're like, what'd you do? I laid in bed and won a sport.
Well, I have a question now. After the river, is that, we presume, the finish line? Or is
Yeah.
there a little bit more? Okay, that's the finish line.
They cross the river and then right after that's the finish line.
All right.
Hill,
Yeah.
down, river. I bet the Egyptians are really good at this, huh?
Why the Egyptians?
Because of the whole Cleopatra thing.
That was a long time ago, Joel. I don't think any of them are
Yeah,
around
but
anymore.
cultural traditions passed down.
You're
through
talking about the
generations.
strength needed to carry a palanquin?
Ooh, wow.
Thank you. Thank
Wait,
you.
that is much more accurate than the Cleopatra thing.
Yeah. Thank you. $10 word.
Okay, I don't understand either of those references. So what?
They pick up
When
Cleopatra
they
and the.
hold royalty, it's called a
Oh
palanquin.
yeah. I didn't know that was called a
And it
palanquin.
wasn't just Cleopatra, I guess it was.
It was
lots
also
different.
Madonna in the Super Bowl.
Let's
Did
not
she
talk
get
about
brought
that.
in on a palanquin?
I want to see. Now, I like this.
Okay.
I like it. I want to see, you know how you super sloppy double dare and family double dare?
Yes.
I want to see family bed racing. Talking Charlie Bucket style. Put the whole family in the bed, 6 people pushing, get a little crazy.
Right. I like the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory reference.
Those people lived in their beds.
Right.
It was very
Until-
depressing.
Until Uncle
Yeah.
Joe stood up and then started dancing, which I thought was weird that he was like, my legs are numb, I can't feel them. And then he stands up and he's wobbly, and then as soon as he's not wobbly, he starts dancing.
It seemed like they were in the bed and they had allowed their muscles to atrophy so much that they were the reason
Right.
they only lived in the bed was because they lived in a bed.
Yeah, and it takes a whole 15 seconds to get all that atrophy out of your legs.
Don't you think the rest of the Bucket family would be pretty upset when they saw that? They probably hold it in because they're excited about the golden ticket. But you think the mom was like, "Why the fuck have I been waiting this guy hand and foot for the last 10
Do you
years?"
see me
could've
doing
stood up.
laundry with a fucking paddle?
Right.
Do
And
you
now
see
you're
how
dancing
poor
'cause
I
you
am?
get to go to a chocolate factory? I don't get to look, I was making cabbage water.
Dance a jig, Grandpa Joe, because as soon as you get back,
All right, we're way off topic, so I think that means that comes
That's
to
easy.
another end. Another Weird Sports! Oh, you can lay in bed and do nothing and be an athlete! I lost my job and my wife. I have $5 to my name.
You look like someone who needs a blowjob.
Well, where am I gonna find a blowjob for $5? Whoa, where are we?
Hi, puppy. Tijuana, of course.
Pharmacies with cheap Lipitor. And there's hookers everywhere.
It's called a tolerance zone. Pretty rad, huh?
Even child hookers?
Especially child hookers.
Oh, hey, honey. No, don't bother coming back. I Tijuana something else out of life.
Paid for by the Tijuana Tourism Board. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of another sports podcast. But before we go, we have to tie up some loose ends here.
Absolutely. If you want to contact us via Gmail, you can get us at sportspodcast@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at sports3podcast.
Facebook.
You can hit us up on the Facebook by searching Sports Podcast in your little search bar. We'd just like to thank Joe Donatelli, who joined us today.
Joe Donatelli.
I really liked him.
He's a good guy, right? He knows a ton about sports.
That Joe Donatelli was a vastly superior guest to Christopher Walken.
I agree.
Vastly
Much
superior.
better.
Had a lot to say.
But you can see more of his stuff at thehumorcolumnist.com, or you can check out his old podcast stuff at thesecondcolumn.com, or check it out. We have a link on Comedy Podcast Network.
It is the humor column. It sounded like it said V, but it's the humor columnist.
The humor columnist, yes.
The humor columnist, some might say.
Yeah, I'll just say the humor columnist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
All right, thanks everybody for listening. Good night. Lights off. For more funny stuff for your eyes and ears, go to comedypodcastnetwork.com.